What the fuck? Oh, right. Okay, it's gone. Hello, everyone. Hello, Future Shock.
Hello, True Spoon. What the fuck? What's going on? The F-bombs within 1 second.
No, I didn't. I held myself back. The F came out, but not the rest of it.
Are you sure? I might have to listen.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm sure.
Anyway, how you doing? You good?
I got caught on a hot mic or something. I thought I muted it. I think I went far and then just let the rest slide. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right, bro. Yeah.
Good. I mean, this is the first time. I was just thinking, it's the first time we've started the show and I've not been rushing to sit down. I've actually been sat here kind of patiently and quietly and calmly. Usually it's a mad rush and I'm just like sitting down just as we start, sort of thing. But,
you sound like you've got tinkling glass there, bro.
I apologize for any tinkling that comes out on the recording. It's my coffee.
Oh, tinkling coffee,
black coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, obligatory black coffee for the podcast. Just to give
how's your alcohol?
I haven't had any since. I haven't had any since not that long. Maybe third week. Maybe I'm going to be this weekend though because I'm paid this weekend and have a few plans. So yeah, we'll definitely be indulging. How about you?
What are you doing this weekend? You got a gig or something?
I've got a friend coming down, an old uni mate. So yeah, we're gonna have a little catch up.
Yeah, as for me, I mean, life has been it's been really tough since kind of quitting alcohol 2 months ago. But I mean, when I say quitting, it's so crazy. Because I'm approaching middle age, and I've had a healthy life of healthy imbibing, social drinking, and single malt scotches, fine wines, all the rest of it, and it all accumulates. And it's like I realized that my body had become alcohol powered. Not that I would consider myself an alcoholic, just I love to drink and I love drinking. And I love drinking socially or just on my own and chilling out. But at the same time, I love to be fit. And I sort of realized approaching middle age that my fitness is gone. I can't run as well as I did. I've got very little stamina. I could do a kilometer in the pool, but then I'd be exhausted the next day. And I just figured it was getting older. But then I started sort of thinking about the amount of alcohol I'd drunk and it's accumulated. And I started feeling really ropey. Like I say, 2 months ago, I decided to sort of quit. So I sort of quit hard for 4 weeks. And after that time, it was hard initially, because you feel really tired. You're really exhausted because the alcohol is a kind of energy form. And your liver's not necessarily used to, dealing with getting its energy from food. And you realize how your whole metabolism had been transformed by the booze. So I'd sort of quit, and I got to the stage now where I'll have one drink or two, and it'll be 2 or 3 beers, and I'll be pissed. So it's I've reset myself to what I was like when I was a student, when I first started drinking, basically, pissed on 2 beers, which is kind of nice. And it's kind of good to be like that, because it's I know I'm not drinking too much anymore because I can't, because I'll just feel really wankered after 3 beers. But it's been a long ongoing process of clearing out my liver. And, there's a whole protocol, which I maybe will go into one day, about cleaning your gallbladder, your liver, and unblocking it. Because basically my liver function had been reduced to a smaller area, because the rest had all been ganked up with old coagulated bile and stuff, which is an issue you can get, sort of excessive sort of alcohol use. So I've been clearing up my liver, and I'm getting better and better. But it's been a hell of a tough road, man. I mean, gosh, it would be so much easier just not to quit and keep drinking, but that would probably shorten my life a little bit.
How long is it now?
It's been about 2 months, but see, I haven't actually. I got to the point now where I haven't quit because my girlfriend likes to drink, so I go to the pub and have 1 or 2 with her. But nothing like what we used to. We used to just drink all day and vodkas and a bottle of vodka and all sorts. Having a right laugh, but drinking far too much. And now it's totally changed. But gosh, it's one of the hardest thing I've ever done, mate. Honestly.
I mean, it's definitely true about the energy side of things. I've thought that before when I'm on kind of like these sort of 2 or 3 day benders or whatever, or more days. That you suddenly realize that you're essentially running on alcohol, and you realize that this is actually the main energy source, and my body can keep this going at least for the foreseeable future. Obviously, you get a bit further down the line, and the hangovers turn into more withdrawal type stuff, and then that's the time where you've really got to kind of like check yourself and sort yourself out. Thankfully, with things like having a day job and stuff like this, you kind of are forced to check yourself, even if you're going, let's say you've had 2 weeks annual leave, it's still annual leave and you got to get back to work at some point. So you're forced to kind of like bring yourself out of it. Whereas, if you're somebody who's homeless or jobless, this is how it all starts.
Yeah, you can imagine, can't you, eh? Jeepers, yeah.
This is how it spirals out of control very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And one thing can lead to another very quickly. I mean, even if you are employed, if you start getting too deep into the drink, you can end up doing something that gets yourself sacked, and then you've got no money, and then you lose the place where you live. And then suddenly, within a few months, your whole life can fall apart. I mean, thankfully, that's not something that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem.
I'm just saying.
I've never had a point where I've interfered with my life, with my working life, or anything like that.
Yeah,
I've been rude to people on the internet, on the old David Icke forums, as it was, and been a little bit cheeky and abusive, maybe a little bit, mental, but only because people would wind me up and piss me off and call me names. So but those days are over. But I can imagine like being homeless. I mean, you literally, alcohol will make you feel better, and if you've got a long-term drinking problem, the prospect. But that's why they have rehab for 6 weeks. It's like 6 weeks is the time it takes your liver to sort of replenish yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The homeless don't have the benefit, or those kind of people don't have the benefit of the kind of secluded environment where they're sort of they can substitute alcohol for other things. I mean, like we can, we can just get cozy, have a nice cup of tea, load of chocolate biscuits, and as a kind of replacement for booze. I mean, that's actually weirdly, that's why Cadbury's and Roundtree, all those chocolate companies were all run by Quakers initially. I think I mentioned this before. It was always a substitute for discourage people from drinking, get them eating chocolate instead. But these poor homeless guys don't have the benefit of they're on the street, and they got to get what comfort they can, and unfortunately, the booze bottle is a great source of comfort, and it's just a fact of life, that it does. But it's just a question of moderating that and dealing with reality and the cold edges of it, rather
it's
than
like my friend said,
booze up all the time.
I had a friend at uni who, not the one who's coming down, but he's a little bit of a crazy guy. But when I was at uni, he was sort of one of the more mature students, as they say, and he had like a proper alcohol problem, like quite serious alcohol problem. And like he said, you drink to forget. And obviously, if you're in that situation, a homeless situation, it will temporarily just numb the pain of the situation, or it will make you less worried about the situation to a degree. But I can't imagine what it's like. Wasn't there, who's the politician? I don't know if you saw this. There's a politician that came out and said that they're going to try and house all homeless people by Christmas. I can't think who that was now. I want to say Angela Rayner, but I'm probably wrong about that. But I was just thinking to myself, how the hell are you going to do that? Let me see if I can find the story. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, anyway, so just that F-bomb, grok. It's just been super grok is so bad now. So if you saw the intro video, I've just given up now with making new videos every week because grok is so effing rubbish. Oh man, I had this idea of a video to do. I was trying to do. Can you see that? I was trying to have George Soros on the phone to Andy Burnham. Andy Burnham saying, "Oh, we 1,000% support Ukraine," and he's prodding the Russian bear with Putin's face. And then Putin decides he's had enough, and his eyes go red. The bear and he swipes, and all these nuclear weapons are sent to the UK. These missiles, and and the touch of a button, Andy Burnham and his odious cabinet of lefty commies go down into a base, an underground bunker, where they pop open the champagne and caviar as the first nukes fall on London. And I thought that'd be great, because they don't risk anything, those effers. Whereas they're doing all the big war talk, while we got targets painted on our backs above ground, and they'll all be in bunkers. And this is what I got. I thought, all right, let's do Putin as a bear, and I thought it would produce a really cool anime bear, like a techno bear or something, like right. brown fur, ripple muscles, red eyes, fantastic. And this is what I got. Can you see that?
Yeah, that is laziness of the highest order.
Lazy grok. This is what grok's doing now. It's unbelievable. That's a bear with that's Putin bear. And I thought, this is rubbish. This is so crap. I can't even be bothered. To make it. And so I've just made it. So F super grok, because it's unbelievably bad. It's more expensive. I made most of the videos you make, they don't work. And it's a bag of shit. And you think, this is crap. And then then you're 50% through your weekly allowance. Just making. Oh, so I'm sorry, I haven't done. But so I've made the intro now is the intro. It'll always be every week now, because unless AI has less friction. They call it friction. When AI won't do what you tell it, and it's difficult to use, and it's called friction, and it's just such a head. Look, this is just crap. Where's Putin's face?
I was going to say,
not even there.
I mean, that at least is reasonable, but yeah.
It's supposed to be Burnham. Oh yeah, Burnham. Support Ukraine 100%. It's supposed to poke the bear. The bear's supposed to have Putin's face. They're supposed to be in a bunker. They're not even in a bunker. It's not even London. It looks like Paris. So
that's not great. That's not great. I mean, this is the thing. You have to prompt these things over and over again. This is why I'm gonna be trying to pick my new AI that's for my cinematic stuff, like as carefully as I can, because it's very rare that you get a video to work first time, and now you've got all these limits on how many generations you can do, and it's so expensive, and it's God knows how many few pence per second. You just can't. I think I figured out that I could probably make the best I could do, looking around all the different options now that Runway's doing away with its unlimited option. The best I could do was it would allow me to make about 12 minutes a month, 12 minutes of video, which is just pathetic. I'm doing at least half an hour a month.
Look at this. This one's even worse. It's like it's a bear, not even Putin's face, and then it's got a kind of human face, but it's just piss. Yeah, it's rubbish. Sorry, go on.
Putin's relationship with Grok is officially over.
Oh, it's over, bro. It's over. I mean, jeepers. And then they offered me, because I was getting it cheap for 3 months for $9 rather than $30, and I cancelled it. And then it says, "Well, don't you want to switch to Super Grok Lite for $10?" And that's gonna be even worse, and even more useless, even worse than what I've got now, which I can't even use. So I am so done with this. I'm so done with it. Yeah, it's a shame, but it seems to be sort of symptomatic of problems with AI now, and the costs running high, and the inability to provide enough data centers, and the environmental degradation of those data centers, and all the controversy. I think it could be the beginning of the end of AI almost. It seems like we had like a peak. It sort of peaked about 6 months ago, I think in terms of Super Grok, which has always been the best one in my opinion. It's quickest, least censorship, cheapest, and I preferred it. Just generally preferred it. It sort of could do everything a little bit well, whereas some do particular things extremely well. Grok was an all-rounder. But
in terms of the energy thing, there could be a lull. There could be a bit of a lull, a bit of a sort of like straight line for a little bit. But I think it might peak again when they figure that out. What obviously Musk has talked about is having something in low Earth orbit. He's also creating the lab. He's building a new lab for this, but it's going to take ages to build that. So I think we could be looking at a little bit of a period of stagnation in terms of efficiency, in terms of like progress. So it could just be a bit of a lull, and then it might peak. It might start climbing up again. That's what I think. I don't think it's the death of it, but I think
just look how bad that is. Look how crap that is.
That is very lazy.
It's like
a lazy
before, yeah. Literally, just take a bear and just superimpose Putin's head on it. It's just not even intelligent. It's just dumb. Oh, and I just thought that's it. I'm done with it. So I'm officially done with it now. Yeah,
it's pretty horrifyingly terrible. Yeah,
totally awful. Yeah, rubbish. But I've had a good knock. I've had a good knock with it. Made a few videos for the Sandwich Pan Band. It's been fun, but yeah, just nowadays it's just a pain in the neck now. I've had enough. I've had enough, mate.
Listen. It's the road of progress is a rocky road. I think it's going to be a little bit of stagnation for a bit with AI, but I'm still kind of confident that it's going to keep overall improving.
All right, so it's been another nutty week. So
of course,
Hayden Panettiere, I can't believe it. She's dead. I quite like that girl.
36 years old. I know.
Yeah, she was in Hero. She was Save the Cheerleader, wasn't it? She was the cheerleader. She was the crux of it all. And if she died, the whole world would be destroyed because she had the one power where she could she could take people's powers, couldn't she? She sort of she had a health regeneration and she could sort of I think she could mimic people's powers. And I didn't actually watch Heroes all the way through, but
I didn't watch any of it, to be honest, but I've read about it since. Obviously, I've read about it since the story came out.
So who's the? Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a weird story. The key of it really is the peek into the dirty details behind Hollywood. So I mean, it's probably a drug overdose, but then it could be even Stalwhackers Inc. hidden. It could be that she seems to be. She didn't name the particular pop star who seems to have caused her all this trauma. Are you familiar with the story that she's told? I'll play the video in a minute if you want, but are you familiar?
Yeah, I've seen the video basically that she alleges, I mean, I say alleges, it's most likely to be true, that she was forced into the bed of a famous rock star, pop star, maybe.
Yeah.
I've seen the rumors. There's strong rumors around a certain person, but I don't know if you've seen.
I've got a list of names and we can go over them.
Mm-hmm.
How likely we think it is to be the one, allegedly. But
yeah, we have to allegedly. You have to make sure you remember that word.
Yeah, she died of a cardiac arrest, technically. Right. She was a lovely lady. She even married one of the Klitschko's, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And she's only a little girl. She's only like 4'11" or something. And was it Vitaly or Vladimir? I can't remember which one she married.
I think it was Vitaly, wasn't it?
Like a hall of mirrors seeing them two, even like nearly 6.5 feet tall, and she's scarcely 5 foot. So yeah, that seems to, in her interviews, that it seems to be that had a shocking effect on her. That she didn't know Hollywood was like that, and she was faced. She felt like an escort girl. Basically, the story is that she was. So one of her longtime friends, she was on a super yacht, and her friend told her to go downstairs because there's someone famous with a big dick, and he's waiting for you. And apparently, this guy was in bed, topless, with a sort of covering his lower area, the bed sheet, waiting for her. like as if she was like a call girl. And this was before, I think this was before she even did Heroes. So this was one of those kind of things, was not the casting couch, but the sort of will you play ball with us and we'll make you famous. You know, the favors for favors. Sleep with this pop star who's used to getting what he wants, and then you'll be a star. So I'll just play the video if I can get it up. I know that's what she said. That's what he said. All right, yeah, where is it? There we go.
Your psyche when you're that.
I mean, the fact that I was 18, even though I'd lived such a huge life and I thought I was so mature at 18, you know, scientifically, you know, our frontal lobes don't develop until we're, 25, 26. So even though I felt like I could make healthy decisions, safe decisions, I wasn't capable of being fully aware of what was going on around me. And it wasn't until I found myself in predicaments that I realized, like, my perspective completely shifted, and I realized that I was in danger. But by the time I'd realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea. And it was that that moment shook me and was shocking. And I was quite literally walked down, and I had been having a great time. There was no hints of anything like that happening. So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down, down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise, and it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous and had his hands like this, like this was just, an average day for him. This is something that happens all the time. And I waited for her to leave. And I mean, that lion in me, that fire in me, that my hair stood on end, and I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. But I had nowhere to hide. And I bolted, and I hid wherever I could think of to hide on a boat. There was
okay, so that's about the gist of that. You with us, bro?
What's this list you were saying about? You said there was a list that you'd found or something.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a minute. No, I mean, listen, it's a list of pop stars. Oh, I've asked Grok. I said, Grok, who do you think it was? And so, if there's any legal proceedings, Elon Musk can take care of that. Yeah, listen. So,
what does Grok?
This was in a memoir, 2026. This is me. I don't know when that came out, but I'm very suspicious when Hollywood celebrities dish the dirt on the inside of the dirty, grimy inner tubes of Hollywood, and then certainly they're dead. Forgive me for being conspiracy theorist, but that kind of, she looks well. Young people don't just have heart attacks unless she had the prick, right?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, it has been happening more recently over the past few years for reasons we don't necessarily need to explain. But she was
on a celebrity-filled super yacht in the south of France. A trusted female friend led her below deck into a cabin, put her in bed with an undressed famous 30-something British singer. Famous 30-something British singer-songwriter at the time. And she would have been 18, telling her to get in bed with him. And obviously Now then, so let me bring up the list. I've got a little Grok list. Let's see if this shares. Is that coming up? My little Grok list.
Yeah.
Now, the name the main name that Grok suggests isn't there yet. Now, I want you to, after we've gone through these names, I want you to spitball some more names. It might be if you can think of any, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
All right. So there were 30 something at the time. British famous rock stars. Is Robbie Williams. In at the top is Robbie Williams, 34 years old in 2008. Was he the dirty effer who tried to do the dirty deed with lovely Hayden Panettiere? What do you think, Future Shock? Was it Robbie Williams?
No, I don't think so.
You know, Robbie Williams, he used to be on the David Icke forum.
He did? Did he really?
Very rarely on there. His name was Robster Will. I don't think Robbie Williams. I don't think he was Robbie Williams. I don't necessarily think he's the kind of exploitative guy. I don't think he's that kind of guy. Don't base that on anything. I think he's.
Do you remember what he used to post about?
Oh well, yeah. He said he was presently doing research into who was Lady Gaga's wardrobe and dress designer, and that was all. That was the last we heard of him. He was interested in finding out who's designing Lady Gaga's clothes, apparently. So make it that what you will, right? Yeah. James Morrison. Don't know who James Morrison is, to be honest with you. I know Jim Morrison. I don't think it's him because he's dead. David Gray. What do you think of David Gray there, Future Shock?
I can't remember who he is, sorry. I mean, I know
he's a songwriter, successful. Less of a tabloid yacht circuit celebrity by then. Chris Martin.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
Yeah? Do you think he did it?
I mean, yeah, he says married to Gwyneth Paltrow, so... I mean, you never know. With
probably yes, then. Had enough of their noise, probably.
Yeah, I mean... well, anyway, go on, sorry. Sting, like it says, far too old.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't stop them, does it? Let's be fair. But
maybe
I don't know who
I think Sting would be too proud to deign to lower himself to. I think he's so up his own body bum that I don't know. I think he's probably get everything like that. He doesn't need any help on that score. I mean, who knows? He might be a perfectly chaste and devoted husband. Who knows? Paolo Nutini, he's too young and Scottish. All right, well, I'll show you what. All right, who do you think? Have you got any ideas, any names that are conspicuously absent from this list?
Too young and Scottish. Is that Grok's opinion? Is that Grok's notes?
No, he's 30-something. He was 30-something British male, wasn't it? Well, no, actually British. Yeah, Scottish doesn't stop you being British, does it? Right?
Where it says notes here, is that Grok's notes?
Grok produced this, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So Grok thinks Paolo Nutini's too young and Scottish.
Well, he is because he's got to be 30-something. Grok's only taking the facts of the case. He's 30-something.
Right. Okay.
But remember that, yeah.
The Scottish.
So who's a 30-something pop star? 2008. Can you think of anyone else?
I know who it is. I know who.
Oh, do you? All right. Well, let's.
So his surname is another word for spliff.
What's that?
His surname is another word for spliff.
Now then, you're like a crossword puzzle today, bro. Very cryptic. All right. Well, listen, I'm not saying anything here. This is Grok saying this. So I don't want any flipping lawyers. All right.
Allegedly.
Here's some of the things anyway. Stella told him I want you to go in bed with me. He has one of them. He has a huge. What's his name? So yeah, these are from her book. This is the things from her book. So it's not going to happen. I don't know what they said to you, but this is not going to happen. I was interested in the David Bowie parallels because this is what used to happen to David Bowie. People used to deliver him young girls, you know. But anyway, here we go. What other possible rock star, which Panettiere says wanted to have sex on the yacht? Now then, here we go. This is it. This gentleman. Can you see that? Here, James Blunt remains the only name, Grok says this, not me, that has circulated with any real frequency as a match for Hayden Panettiere's description. No other British singer-songwriter has been seriously or repeatedly named in reporting or online discussion. So he's a British songwriter, check. mid-30s, check. Extremely famous, yes, check. You're beautiful. Yeah, on the boat in south of France, trying to get me wicked way with young girls, like a dirty old badger. Document his presence in the south of France. Yacht social circles around the period. What do you think of that? Photos even exist of him and Panettiere together on a yacht. Comments?
I mean, you wouldn't surprise. He seems the sort of prick who would do that sort of thing, isn't it?
He's a prick, isn't he? He's a right prick.
He's insufferable. Like he was so like he's just a look like he's just got one of those faces, hasn't he? Basically.
Well, he's a scion of the British establishment. He's got this nauseating military record, and all this family of horrendous military wankers. I mean, I know that isn't very particularly loquacious, but he's a military wanker is how I describe him. But yeah, there you go. All right, I just thought I'd have a bit of fun with that. It's not much fun for Hayden Panettiere, bless her. But do you think he actually contributed to her spiraling and ultimately potentially her overdose death?
Well, this is the strange thing, isn't it? Like, if it is him, why would her? I mean, she hasn't obviously revealed his name. Why would she be killed for what she said? She hasn't really said much. She hasn't really said much more.
No, but it's what she can say. You know, she's a loose cannon. She's already said something. She only has to say a name.
Well, apparently she was working on she was producing a documentary on Hollywood. I just had a frigging bookmark and I've lost it. Hang on a second.
You got something to share?
If you just fill for a sec whilst I just try and get it back, sorry.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we got John Fused, who in the chat. He's going to catch us later, which is cool. So John, nice to hear from you, John Fused. Hope you enjoyed the show later. And no more messages at the moment.
Well, I'm going to debunk myself because I've actually just seen that apparently. So what the story was that I'd read basically was that Justin Bieber had come out and said that Hayden had been working on a kind of documentary behind the scenes about the elites in Hollywood. But looking down on the further down in the X comments, looks like the guy who originally posted this has posted some misinformation because apparently it's something to do with Billie Eilish, not Hayden. So that's that. So that was just making sure that I'm not saying the wrong thing, basically.
All right. Yeah. So you had a comment. You noticed the Heroes. I used to love that show. It was a good show. And it used to start with an eclipse. The solar eclipse was one of the key symbols of the show and part of the promotional language of the show. And you actually noticed, you remembered something about the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, when the eclipse happens in the show, the characters lose their powers. And it just seems very coincidental, whatever coincidence actually means, as we said before. But it just seems very interesting timing that we just had the eclipse literally a week ago now, right to the hour. And then a few days after the eclipse, she's passed away. So we know what the elites and the Hollywood system is all about in terms of sacrifices and things like this. You know, could there be a connection there? It's interesting timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of symbolism that they would do, isn't it? There's always got to be some kind of connection like that, whether it's more of a numerological type thing, number-related thing, or whether it's kind of more of an overt symbolism pictorially like the eclipse. I don't know. It just seems very strange timing to me. I mean, what do you reckon?
Well, yeah, not only that, but if you remember, we've spoken about how the universe is ordered and its information is ordered by themes thematically. So you remember Jacques Vallée talks about how Jacques Vallée, who while he's investigating these UFO cults, he starts to experience all these weird coincidences, and he comes to the conclusion that coincidences and things are really showing you how the universe works. That the universe works like a computer. It stores information. The least efficient way to store information is time, and that's how we process information and things, by time. And we perceive time unfolds linearly, etc. And we group experiences and things based on time. But the universe and computers things that have common themes and ideas that are linked will sort of have a sort of kinship, and experiencing one set piece of that information can often reveal and unleash similarly grouped phenomena, should we call it phenomena. So if you're thinking, this is how coincidence works. So if you're thinking about someone and suddenly they ring you, that's because the universe is grouping your thoughts and the fact that that person is phoning you. For convenience sake, those things have been put together, so they unfold at the same time. I mean, it's not a cold computer algorithm. That's not how it works. But it's just like everything else in this observable 3D universe. Everything is made for maximum efficiency, right? It's like how quantum physics, 4D, the quantum physics, this sort of idea of collapsing the quantum wave function. So the idea is that reality only comes into focus or into life when you observe it, which is exactly how computer games work. You have player instances. So you're playing that part of the universe in like a space game. The rest of the universe is not there. It doesn't exist in any real way, only as potential. Once you enter that arena, then that part of the game loads up and is presented and produced. And the universe works in the same way. Because could you imagine how much of a ball ache it would be for God to have to sort of have the whole universe always on for potentially countless trillions and trillions and trillions of life forms? No, it's better just to produce that bit of the universe that being needs to perceive at that time.
It'd be a hell of an electricity bill, wouldn't it?
What's that?
It'd be a hell of an electricity bill, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So they call that in computer games. It's called player instances. I think that's called a player instance, and I think that's what I'm sure that's how the universe.
But I wonder if
works. Yeah.
When you get these people who say like space is fake and all this kind of stuff, I mean, I wonder if I'm not saying that space is fake, obviously, but I wonder if they're kind of in the right ballpark in the sense that, I mean, you could kind of argue that there's a sort of fakeness to it. The word fake is kind of a loaded word. It implies a bit of sort of almost malevolence kind of thing, obviously. But I mean, if we're talking about it only appearing when it's needed sort of thing, then there is it's obviously not always there.
Yeah, not always there.
So
I think Einstein said that in reply to Niels Bohr or something like that. He was saying that, I still like to believe somehow that even when I'm not looking at it, the moon is still there. But the implications of quantum mechanics are that when you're not looking at the moon, it's not there. It's only when you look at it that it actually appears and it's real. Otherwise, it's flux. It exists in a sort of non-real quantum wave function, which is not fully realized,
Isn't it the case that it's collapsing? The waveforms are being collapsed by sort of air molecules or anything else?
No, nothing like that. No. It's only observation that collapses the wave function.
So I thought it was more like interaction, which would obviously include molecules.
Conscious observer, bro. It's consciousness. It's some kind of measurement or a conscious observer which collapses the wave function. Yeah. All right. Well, the next thing. So poor old Panettiere, may she rest in peace. I thought she was a nice girl. I had a soft spot for her. So whether it was Mr. James Blunt or whether she was offed by the Star Whackers, it's possible,
The thing is, as well, with that, sorry, just on that again for a sec, it's like, if it comes out, the question I suppose is, will other people come out and say that? Will they be brave enough to come out and say that they've had similar experiences with him? If his name is getting more and more popular in connection with this, will that then encourage other people?
Unlikely, since Hayden Panettiere turned up dead.
Well, this is it.
Kind of quite cool. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Illuminati do these things. It's a very it maintains order and the code of silence. You can imagine, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
There are people who know what happened to Hayden Panettiere, I'm sure, and maybe a lot of them are her friends who know what happened to her, really. But anyway,
we'll see how it plays out over the next couple of weeks, I suppose.
Well, we have to keep our eye to keep our eye on it. Yeah. All right, this is Andrew Tate. This is the thing I've seen him doing these hand signs. This is old news.
Yeah, this is from the original arrest.
But have you seen those hand signs he does?
He does this all the time, yeah. He does the finger thing all the time, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I looked into these. There's a lot of these hand signs. I think you're probably familiar with some of them.
The main one he does is
the most famous for doing them, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he just generally does the two index fingers together with the two thumbs together, forming a triangle kind of thing. He's done that for years.
All right, hang on. Let me share this screen. Hang on. Have you got anything? Have you got anything to present? Can you do it after my bit about I'm going to do Andrew Tate?
Yeah. No, I can go into. I'll pick something. Yeah, there's quite a few things. So, yep.
Okay, we just got to fiddle around with the sharing here.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'm trying to remember how he explained it. He did explain it one time. Obviously, he's not going to say it's kind of some sort of Illuminati type symbol, but he explained it. I can't remember. It's kind of it's like a power thing. Like when he puts his hand in that position, it feels like he's got more power when he talks and how he expresses himself and stuff like this. Something along those lines.
He says apparently it's wild. It's identified as the Uttarabodhi Mudra, a yogic Buddhist hand gesture associated with enlightenment, upward energy flow, mental clarity. Tate has repeatedly explained it as a personal power-up. He copied from his late father, Emery Tate, who used a similar pose. Tate describes interlocking fingers and complete the circuit for his brain, saying it increases his power like an amplifier. He's denied Illuminati or Masonic connections. But if we look at this, if we look at Angela Merkel, she's doing the same thing. Bill Gates, oh no, he's doing something similar. Can you see the pictures?
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously it's a very common thing. We see Trump do it as well. We see lots of people do this.
Okay, Jay-Z there. Angela Merkel. I don't think she's a Jay-Z fan or an Andrew Tate fan. So why is she doing it?
Well, it's not even that comfortable. I don't know.
We've got the hidden hand pose here. Seen this?
Mm-hmm.
Beatles, Obama, Will Smith, the Pope, the Masonic hidden hand. We got our friend, the late late PM Keir Starmer. He's got
my hopes up then.
It's the same as the Andrew Tate thing.
And yet here he is getting revenge on Tate. It's unbelievable. Trying to get revenge anyway.
See, I think it is Illuminati. I think it is an Illuminati sign.
Well, so do you think he's a kind of like controlled opposition type person?
Of course he is. I think he's probably a Freemason.
It's interesting if he is, because for someone who grew up where he grew up, I mean, I wouldn't have thought there's many Freemasons on like Luton Council estates, but I suppose...
Well, his father was a chess master, an American chess master.
Well, it doesn't...
His father worked for the CIA, mate.
But the thing is, like, it could have come later anyway. After that, it could, as he got more famous, as he got introduced to more people in the upper echelons of society, it could have been.
Listen, the only thing that stopped me joining the Freemasons Illuminati is my personal scruples and my ethics, and knowing they're evil bastards. I don't think a person like Andrew Tate is going to have any scruples. He'd join anything. And what kind of people? What is it? Do you think what has he got? What hold has he got over the Trump government? He's threatening the Republicans now. He's threatening to spill some beans.
Yes, but he said this before and never actually gone through this. So I don't know why. I don't know if he actually means it. I mean, he said the same about, he knows stuff about Keir Starmer as well. I'm not sure if he's going to start talking about the Ukrainian connection or, the Ukrainian rent boys, alleged Ukrainian rent boys connection. He says a lot of things and then he doesn't sort of follow them through. So, I guess maybe we'll find out more after after they have the trial. If it fails, if they keep him in that sort of dungeon type jail that he's in, maybe he'll start talking then. Who knows? But at the moment, it's all just for, I think it's all just for views and clicks what he's saying at the moment.
Presidents, billionaires, elite athletes, CEOs, even fictional villains seem to keep making the exact same pose. Fingertips touching, hands forming a triangle. At first glance, body language experts often describe it as a sign of confidence, control, authority, and someone who believes they have the upper hand in conversation. Sometimes called the steeple gesture. Posture associated with people who feel powerful enough they don't need to prove it. Trump's always doing it. Yeah, Ronaldo's doing it.
I don't know what the C. Montgomery Burns is doing there, because that's not quite that's not quite it, is it? It's just Burns always does that thing where he's kind of like scheming. It's more of a scheming hand when Burns does it. Inconclusive for me.
Yeah, I've got a bit. Okay, well, listen, I've got something quite interesting. I mean, can you? Okay, let me just link to this. Just going to link to this. This is this is an article I wrote.
Yeah, isn't this from the book that I helped with 8 years ago?
I don't think so. This is something different, actually. This is different. This is on my truthspoon.com, my blog. This is a picture I found. These are the Sadducees. These were the Jewish temple authorities. So you had the Essenes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees. The Sadducees were in charge of the temple. And the Sadducees weren't that bad. The Sadducees were actually Torah Jews who followed the Torah, didn't follow the oral tradition, which is what the Pharisees do. And the oral tradition is the thing that Jesus says they're the synagogue of Satan. I've written, my latest book is all about the oral tradition and how it was invented. It was a way of destroying Judaism, corrupting it from the inside, and bringing it back into sort of Kabbalistic Canaanite tree worship, which is why the tree of life, famously, the Canaanites used to worship the Asherah tree, and they used to like the things like the maypole and the phallic thingies, the phallic fuck's sakes, what are they called? Those Egyptian things, those phallic Cleopatra's needles. What do they call them? Anyway, so that the tree was a representation of this. Is all sort of phallic sexual rights of the Canaanites. This hand sign is what they're doing. This is a special Jewish priest hand sign. Any comments?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks slightly different for a start. I mean, it's kind of it's like the opposite way around, isn't it? It's kind of they're doing it upwards in an actual triangle, and they're doing the kind of Spock thing with their fingers.
Yeah, they're doing the Spock thing. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas the other ones are kind of like the opposite way. So are we saying is it kind of like a sort of is the ones that we see these days more kind of like a development of this, or?
Okay, anyway, listen, I've got this article. I quite like this article. I wrote this article about punk and how punk was created. And it seems to be, there's a lot of involvement with these kind of people who are following this kind of religion and this ethnicity. So yeah, if you observe, Malcolm McLaren, this is him if in his bar mitzvah. Bendy Rhodes. Oh yeah, look, these guys are all doing it. Look.
See, now that's the other way around now.
Bendy Rhodes.
I think this here basically is sort of why Epstein, the whole Epstein thing, just never really took off in terms of revealing and revelations and whatnot. Because I think, like I said at the time, there's just so people involved in this, as you're demonstrating. There's so many people in the celebrity world, in the elite Hollywood world, whatever you want to call it, that there's just no way they could allow proper, you know, they could allow the proper sort of unredacted version of the files to come out. Because, like, you've just done this for like a couple of minutes, and the amount of different celebrities or different politicians, it just goes to show that there's so many people involved. Like, how could they ever possibly properly reveal what is in those files? It's probably just happening at a scale that people just can't even imagine, really.
All right, mate. Listen, I'm going to carry on with Andrew Tate, but I'm going to play a tune. Do you want to cue something up for after the break? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got plenty of stuff. What I was going to say.
Oh, you go, mate. I'm knackered now. I've yacked myself silly, so I'm going to play a tune, and you want to sort of do something next after the break, yeah?
All right. Well, yeah. Okay, go on.
All right. This is a nice long song. This is 5 minutes 20 seconds. It's by Sandwich Pants, called "You Fat Bastard." I played it before, but I quite like it. All right. Yeah, we're gonna mute up for 5 minutes. All right, bro.
All right.
Nice one.
Greedy like twat.
Fucking fat bastard. Carrots, sprouts and cauliflower, broccoli and aubergine, peppers, mushrooms, courgettes, sweet corn all swimming in margarine. I even eat the foreign ball, some of it's quite fucking nice. Pasta noodles, apple strudels, Thai green curry, sticky rice, donnery, pepperoni and salami, spare ribs and king rod satay, drenched in hot liver pate, custard creams, pink wafers, Vol-au-vents, flaky croissants, about 50 bags of Monster Munch. Bamboo shoots and passion fruits, buttons of pussy, calamari, jelly tots and jelly shots and quattro smashed with egg and honey.
You massive fucking knacker.
Ham and lamb and pork and spam, onion, dust and cheesy balls. And the treat is boiled sweetness with me lads for diabetes. Toffees, flakes and coffee cakes and bacon bites and hula hoops. Strawberry flan, lemon, meringue, a wide variety of soups. Chicken wings and chicken wings, chicken breasts and chicken thighs, chicken's legs and chicken's eggs, a huge helping of chicken pie. Quarter pounders, wagon wheels, a freezer full of ready meals. Heroes, bounties, picnics, brunches, rebels, pockets, toppings, munchies, salt and pepper, sugar, flour, chicken balls in sweet and sour, massa man and parmesan, all day breakfast out of town. Ragu stew and vindaloo, and spare ribs off the barbecue, chipolatas, pressed frittatas, and that's just for fucking starters.
Jesus Christ, you fucking knacker. Twat.
And we are back. So what I was going
We
to
are
share, share, the first thing I'll share anyway, is a slightly insane person. We were just talking about sort of Jewish influence, and let's have a little look at this guy. This guy is Yom Tov Glazer, who is a rabbi who's close to Netanyahu, and he's talking about the destruction of the wider world if we don't, kowtow to Israeli wants and demands. So let me just share him. If the thing would do it. There we go. I mean, the title of this is Insane Leak. I mean, it's not that insane, really. I mean, it's if anybody's got their ear to the ground, this is not really a massive surprise. So, I mean, this guy, Yom Tov Glazer, he is basically an international sort of, I don't know. He's got his fingers in a few different pies. But basically, he's kind of like a confidant of Netanyahu, and he's talking here essentially about the Samson option again, kind of reminding us that the Samson option is something that they would definitely consider. And well, let's just hear what he has to say for a brief moment. Hopefully, that will play. Play, please.
Because the most powerful nations in the world have to go down to their knees. That's what happened to Egypt. That's what's going to happen to America. That's what's going to happen to Germany. That's what's going to happen to France. That's what's going to happen to London. England's going to happen.
So he says with his American accent.
To Poland. That's what's going to happen to Russia. That's what's going to happen to China.
Good luck with that.
That's what's going to happen to North Korea. They're all going to go down to their knees and all see Hashem.
Is this real?
But as long as they keep helping us, they'll get a bracha.
Why is it
And
called
they're not going to
Parody
go down their
Jeff?
knees. They're going to get a little more.
Why is he called what? Sorry.
Parody Jeff.
Oh, Parody Jeff
Is
is
it sure it's real?
Parody Jeff is the Twitter account.
Yeah. Sounds like I'm not saying it isn't, but it's like,
That's a good point, actually.
It could be like exaggerated. It could be fake. What's the guy's name?
Let's have a look here. I'm just looking down the comments here. He doesn't seem to be getting called out.
Google him.
He doesn't seem to be getting called out for it being fake. I know, obviously, like the name does suggest that it's parody, but
well, what's the guy's name? What's the rabbi's name?
Said it right there.
This check is real.
Yom Tov Glazer. It's at the top
Yom
there.
Tov Glazer. I mean,
There's
I'm sure it is. I'm just like, you just got
another video of him down here.
You end up like Alex Jones having to pay billions because you didn't check your facts. He's a musical artist. I don't know if this is hang on, Rabbi. He's a senior
another
rabbi.
video of him down here.
He's apparently a real guy. He's a real rabbi, apparently, yeah.
There's another video of him down here talking for a couple of minutes. He's definitely a real guy. But
So
it's
he's
a fair
wiping
point.
out, he wants to wipe out the West, yeah?
Yeah, and in case like people haven't heard of this, the Samson option basically is just a military strategy where they could unleash nuclear weapons across the world or whoever they want to if they feel that Israel is going to be defeated if the country faces total destruction. And
Fair enough.
they will not go down alone, essentially. So it gives them the option. But obviously, they've never officially confirmed or denied having nuclear weapons. But it's Israel. Obviously, they're going to have.
Well, the last time they tried to find out, it was John F. Kennedy, wasn't it? There's even a story that Israel produced a fake. They were saying that all of their nuclear research was for nuclear power. So what they did is they built 2 control rooms. They had a fake control room, which was for nuclear power. Then they had the real control room, which was like in a basement underground for their nuclear weapons, apparently. And JFK apparently inspected this fake control room and was satisfied that they didn't have nuclear weapons. But I think JFK was he was trying to get more and more spotlight on Israel's nuclear arsenal, and then the next thing, there's no more JFK. So coincidence, or what do you think?
Well, yes. I think we know what's going on with that. But yeah, so I mean, clearly Israel would have the idea that, like, flip it round. The idea that they don't have nuclear weapons is just absolutely insane, isn't it? Especially if you've got a Samson option. If you've got the Samson option written into your law, how are you going to do that if you've not got nuclear weapons? You're not going to go around the world just sort of like shooting everybody. So yeah, I mean, just a little reminder of what they think of us, basically, with their little lapdogs. And speaking of crazy political figures, let me just go back to, you must have seen this. I'm surprised. I think I mentioned this to you on text. Where is she? Edwina Curry. So
she's another one of the tribe.
So this is just right. Okay, so speaking of parodies and satire and whatnot, I genuinely thought this was an AI parody when I saw this, and I could not believe this was actually real. So this is, I mean, talk about suicidal empathy. So basically, this is Edwina Curry, former.
Well, no, it ain't. It's not suicidal empathy if you're one of them, because they're the ones doing it. So it's like they know what they're doing. I mean, all right. There's 2 options. It could be that, like as Barbara Lerner Spector suggested, it will be a certain type of person pushing towards multiculturalism, a certain group of ethnic people. Or what Edwina Curry might be doing is, there's a long story, but the thing is, the people who are Jews are not actually Jews. As I said before, Jesus said they're the synagogue of Satan. Their father's the devil. They said to Jesus they'd never been slaves. The Hebrews were slaves, but the Edomites were not slaves. It's a known fact that the Pharisees were Edomites. Herod was an Edomite. Many Edomites became Jews in the 1st century BC, 2nd century BC, because of the Hasmonean dynasty had decided that they wanted to let the Edomites become Jews. They took over the religion. And then they're the people who killed Jesus, the Pharisees, because Jesus spotted that they weren't Jews. He knew they weren't Jews. He's a Jew. So what the people who call themselves Jews, they're not the Jews, they're the Canaanites. So what she's doing, she's going back to Canaanite morality. They don't have any morality. The Jews created morality. They created the Torah, and the Romans didn't have a lot of morality, but the Hebrews did. But what we're dealing with now is we're dealing with Canaanites. We're dealing with that perversion, and we can only look at society to see that ancient perversions are coming back. These are nothing new. Transgender is nothing new. That's been going for thousands of years. I mean, who reveled in this kind of debauchery, and they're bringing it all back. They're bringing it back.
Also, it's a lack of empathy as well. I mean, a lot of liberal types, they're just not capable of empathy. I mean, they think they are.
It's consciousness.
Yeah, they're actually just kind of hallucinating that the entire world either shares their values or is some kind of, if they don't, there's some kind of devil. So, you know, the sort of liberals who want sort of love and free healthcare for all, you know, they believe through a kind of like projection, through like psychological projection, that everyone who comes here from the third world also wants love and free healthcare for all. Whereas in reality, a lot of the people from the third world are still at a kind of opportunistic level of development, which means, you know, I get whatever I can get away with, basically.
So go on then. What's this old bird on about then?
So basically, because as we've covered in previous shows, there's been I think it was 1,250. This is happening in various towns across the UK as well. But I think the recent famous one was Piddington, which has a population of 350 residents. And it's now having 1,250 migrants moved into, I believe it's an army barracks again. I believe it is. I'm not 100% on that, but they're being moved into the village. So you can imagine, and they're all military-aged men. These aren't women and children. These are all males. So there's 1,250 males from, you know, quote unquote oppressed countries, let's say. And Edwina recognizes that they have urges, they have needs, they have sexual urges. So her suggestion, which is obviously very empathetic towards the women who would be involved in this. So she's really looking out for the women here, suggesting a policy of brothels in the village near these asylum seekers as a way to reduce sexual violence, which in of itself is a hilarious idea that this would reduce sexual violence.
Well, she's supposed to be, because she was a Conservative politician.
Yeah.
She was a Conservative politician. So, yeah, I mean, and so we don't need to look far to sort of realize where all of this corruption is coming. Well, I mean, you know, these same people keep coming up again and again. I'm sorry, George Soros, Edwina Curry, you know, Daniel Finkelstein's another one I'm going to talk about in a minute. All of these people seem to come up again and again. And it's not as if I'm looking for them, but they stick their head out there and they make a point of deliberately sabotaging our civilization.
It's just so, I mean, like, you couldn't write it. It's 11 seconds long. Let's listen to the old bird just yap for a sec.
The obvious thing that 1,200 young men are going to need in the middle of a village like Little Piddington is a brothel. I don't think they're going to provide that. I have a feeling that's not going to be allowed. But the obvious...
What a shame. It's almost like she's like, it's not going to be allowed. Right, okay, cool. So, yeah. I mean, what do you suggest then? I mean, but it's a fair look. I mean, the point.
Maybe she can get out there and work that meat. Do you know what I mean? She can.
Jesus God, just stick her on a table.
We've got cobwebs up there these days, anyway. Mate.
Just tie her to a bed and then.
Anyway, listen, I just realised we can't talk like that.
Maybe we shouldn't say that.
We shouldn't. No, we can't talk like that. Yeah.
So yeah. That's some interesting.
Anyway, yeah, right, yeah, nice.
I think, yeah, like they say, I think the locals will be thrilled. I mean, you know, so if they can't get their brothel, Holly F says here. So if they don't get their brothel, it's back to the old graping option.
Yeah, the old option, the old default option, which is exactly. Well, it's not even a laughing matter, is it? But you know.
But it gets to the point where what can you do? It's so absurd that you can't help but just laugh at it.
It is like a living satire, isn't it? It's like real life satire. Yeah, I've always packed Jewishness in my suitcase. Someone spotted it. There we go. Look at that. There is. I love it when people spot the trend. You know, spot the difference, spot what's going on.
And
early life is a good one. Yeah,
it's coming here from Nature Lover, so they are fully aware of the threat these men pose. Yeah, okay. I mean, what could go wrong with shipping in 1,250 military-aged men into a village of 300 people? What could possibly go wrong with that? Eh?
Anyway, we got a comment on the BitChute channel from an account called Cetacean Empathize Accurate. Correct. I don't know if that is like some kind of AI bot. It says here, true story. I worked at Fox when Tucker Carlson was there. One day he was coming out of the toilet as I was going in. It stank in there. He had sprayed the toilet with diarrhea. He spelled diarrhea correctly. So it must be a bot. And didn't clean it up. That was the kind of guy he was. Arrogant. I don't know why Cetacean Empathize Accurate has shared that information with my BitChute chat, but
yeah, I'm just trying to sort of like cast my mind back to what we've discussed tonight, which would prompt a story about Tucker Carlson's toilet trips.
Every word there is spelled correctly, and even diarrhea. I think diarrhea is correctly spelled. It's spelled different in the UK, but that's American English. So yeah, whoever you are, if you're a real Cetacean Empathize Accurate, which is an unlikely sounding username for a real human, but thank you for that Tucker Carlson fact, if indeed it is a fact. But yeah, anyway,
just on the theme of migrants and illegal migrants, the sad story of what's happening in Quetta continues. I mean, the official line was obviously that they were trying to convince us that all these migrants had been pushed back, but of course that isn't the case. And there's lots of video. I mean, I could share so many videos. It's not even, there's so many of like people, mainly mothers, getting interviewed, expressing their sort of fear and like how their daughters have been sort of threatened, and how like things like, oh, my daughter has to go out with her father now, and you know,
well, even not just girls but boys. I mean, I heard that a boy was molested by these doctors and rocket scientists from Morocco and sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, did you see
anything? Basically, yeah.
Well, there was the story of the elderly guy. Did we cover this last week? The story of the elderly guy who got attacked by. He'd gone to the pub basically and was just on his way home, and I think he was in Harrow. There was an Eritrean man who graped him.
Really?
Did you see? Yeah, I mean, I can find the story. It's like, but yeah, he was an elderly guy just on his way back from the pub. I think it was Harrow, and yeah, he's outside a church as well.
Yeah, you know what? The thing that the West has got wrong is that they seem. The latest thing is that Andy Burnham's Labour government is now producing info packs to new immigrants, asking them nicely, informing them that in order to have sex with a woman, you need to get consent. Telling them what to not to touch children. They need an info pack. They need to be brought up to speed on humans, on how to be a civilized human. But I mean, is an info pack from the government going to turn you into a civilized human?
I doubt it. I mean, is an info pack from the government going to turn this guy, who is the alleged perpetrator of this act, do you think that's going to change his mind? What do you reckon?
I mean, why are we having people in the country that the government already then has figured out that they can't be trusted not to take advantage of women against their will? They've basically admitted that by producing these info packs. So then why are we? So you've admitted, the government now is admitting that it's importing dangerous sexual predators who will ape women when they get the chance. Yeah, and they need a little info pack. They need a little debrief.
Yeah, how about instead just don't have them here, so then you don't need to post it back? I mean, I don't know. They've sort of like, they've not thought that one through. So
they're sort of admitting culpability basically by doing that. But
well, yeah, this is it. This is
most people won't notice though. That's the problem. People won't make that connection.
Which is so weird, because the obvious thing to think is what you just said, basically. It's like, well, hang on a second. How about not produce the pack? How about just not have them come here? But no, we're going to allow them to come here and try to change. It's like the woman trying to change the man, isn't it? Oh, he's this, he's that, but I can change him. And it's okay. No, that's not going to happen, is it? Sad, very sad. What were we talking about? What was it? Quetta. So Quetta, I mean, girls grabbed by migrant gangs, being dragged into the mountains. And the point I kind of was wanting to make with this really more than anything was where are you seeing this in the media? Where are we seeing this? We're not seeing this at all. The only place we're seeing it on is this platform here, X, and a few things going on around. Yeah.
And that's the platform that Nigel Farage thinks is loathsome and disgusting. And he's supposed to be the voice of the right wing, you know.
Which is bananas. I mean, Spain's, like it says here, Spain's own national police has put out an emergency warning to get young girls off the streets. Like, it's the police putting out the warning.
You'd almost have thought that we'd not invented firearms, and you'd almost think that our countries didn't have militaries that had access to firearms, and you'd almost think that we didn't have the ability to use firearms to defend our borders. You'd almost think that, wouldn't you? You almost think that we somehow never invented weapons and we had no ability to defend ourselves in our countries.
I mean, look at the scale of that. That's just obviously part of the. I mean, that's just craziness, man. It's an actual literal invasion.
Yeah, literal, yeah.
And it's just, I just feel really sad for these people. I just like, what's this here? Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, I brought that thing up. I found that a while ago. Yeah, that's the immigration, isn't it? To Europe, yeah.
Isn't it? I actually didn't realize it was that many. I thought it was more like, I mean, in terms of our country, I don't know about the other countries, but I actually thought it was about half that, not 68,000. So I'd forgotten. I can't remember. Sorry, you bringing it up. I think I vaguely remember. I've forgotten the numbers though. That's insane. That is we're almost, it's closing in on being like 100x. That's like 75%, isn't it? More ish. That is craziness, man.
All right, mate. I've got to bring something else up. It's carrying on from the weird hand sign business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So bear with me. That's not it. That's it. Yeah. I mean, I've tried. I can't. This is the only rabbi I've found doing the actual hand gesture. So that's Spock. You know, the famous story is that Spock did this hand gesture, and I mean, Roddenberry would have known, but apparently he only knew that he knew that it was a special Jewish blessing. That hand, live long and prosper. Oh, Leonard Nimoy being Jewish, he brought this. He decided to use this Jewish gesture, which of course most people watching it wouldn't recognize it, but. It's called the Shaddai. And Shaddai it's a Hebrew name for Lord. The temple priests would hold out their hands in this position to give the benedictions. And you can see here we've got both from the Jewish face. Yeah. So you can see he's doing that, but also this rabbi, he's doing this. You can see him.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's the same for me. That's the same as what Jay-Z and what the other sort of celebrity cultists are doing. I think it's possible that Merkel, Tate, and all those people are doing a version of that when they do that sort of they do that waist height triangle sign. It seems to be a version of that, at least to me. But anyway.
It's kind of like a defense mechanism. Like it's like a sort of almost "don't kill me" mechanism. It's like I'm supporting you. Don't you know?
Oh yeah, no, that's what it is. Exactly. No, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. That's what these Masonic signs are all for. Like often they do them in courtrooms to catch the eye of the judge, and if the judge is a Mason, they will give him a lesser sentence. That's right. That's right. They do that as a defense mechanism, as a recognition sign. They get brownie points. They sort of, I'm one of you. Don't kill me. Don't send me to prison. You know, is there no hope for a mother for the widow's son? All that bollocks. So I think so. I think he's showing his allegiances to the media, and he's hoping that they'll look after the widow's son. You know,
because someone like Tate, for example. I mean, I've seen quite a lot of his stuff over the years, maybe last 2 to 3 years, let's say. And he will go in on pretty much anyone, except he doesn't really go in on anything Jewish related from what I've seen. And I have seen quite a lot of content of his.
Oh, so, you mean Tate?
Yeah. It figures. It does follow that it has been something that people have thrown back at him. I've noticed on X in the comments quite a lot of the times that, you won't comment on this, you won't comment on that. I mean, he's supported the Palestine cause, to be fair, But I mean, obviously, a lot of people do. So, other than that, though, he's never been sort of critical of any other sort of like Jewish related thing, or he's never spoken about sort of alleged Jewish influence in, say, the media or movies or whatever. So, so yeah, that's always been a bit of a sort of question mark over him. I just, by the way, whilst I was just obviously talking about the migrant thing, I just wanted to show as well the clowns. As I was talking to you backstage about the ridiculousness of, whilst we were talking about liberals before and their absolute madness, is just another example of it, just another amusing little example. Leftist Europeans here, literally dressed up as clowns, welcoming foreign men into their nation. We're living in a South Park episode. This is from the Telegraph. And here they are. It's Dutch clowns sent to a French migrant camp, which is bizarre enough in itself. And there's some idiot there just high-fiving a bunch of people who'll probably end up raping her at some point. And yeah, look at, I mean, it's like a hypnosis. It's like
everybody hates clowns as well. I mean, maybe they want to be the most hated liberal wet wanks in the world because they're just, on top of being liberal wankers who want more migrants, they're clowns as well. Yeah, it's like the most contemptible thing they could possibly be, right?
But it is this kind of like childishness, isn't it? It's kind of like it's because they haven't sort of developed. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, yeah, they haven't developed beyond like a sort of childish, egotistical level. I mean, it's because these people, a lot of these people, they don't really, you know, look, over the decades, humans have worked like really hard to create sort of nice things and develop society, and then stupid ones like these guys start thinking the nice things are free because they've never done any sort of real work. And if you don't do any real work, you never really grow up properly. So you've got more and more people like these ones who in the clown suits, like the ones you see at the protests, who remain in this sort of childish, egotistical level of development. And it plays out in stupid shit like that, dancing around as clowns in front of people who are openly admitting that they want to come and sort of like do all kinds of terrible things in our country. Madness. The madness continues.
All right. Well, I just think we'll just take a little like a cognitive mental break from that, because I want to move on to a totally different sort of theme. I'm going to totally change the tack now. And if you look at the screen, I've got if you can see that, I've got can you see the image behind my face? I'll just show the picture. Actually.
Yeah,
it's a Dali painting. It's called Corpus Hypercubus by Salvador Dali, and I'm just gonna share this. Hang on, I'll just share this again, right? The sharing is caring, mate. But it's fiddly as flipping
sharing is wearing.
It's wearing me out, mate. Yeah. Okay, so this is a Salvador Dali canvas, which is 1954. It's amazingly prescient. So it's crucified Jesus on a hyper crucifix, right? It's a hypercube, in fact. It's a 2D representation of an unfolded hypercube. Hypercube is a 4-dimensional cube where every side where every side of the shape is a cube. I think we talked about hypercubes last week and hyperspheres, and we didn't talk about hyperspheres. Do you ever see that movie? Did we talk about we talked about that movie, Interstellar?
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, we did. And at the end, he's basically he's in the 4th dimension, isn't he? And he experiences a hypercube, and every side of the 4-dimensional phenomenon is the 3-dimensional reality, not bounded by time or space. So this is really good. So I think I'm going to talk about Jesus, Gospel of Thomas a little bit, and my belief that Jesus understood 4-dimensional quantum mechanics and sort of experienced that directly, and as well as being the Son of God or whatever, he was literally quantum master. He was a master of 4D. So this meaning, the tesseract. Yeah, so there's a tesseract. It's the net of a hypercube, so it's an unfolded hypercube. Now, we can't visualize this shape in our 3D reality because every side is a cube. But yet somehow all of those shapes, those sides are all stuck together and it makes a continuous 4-dimensional shape, which would be somewhat kind of square shaped, kind of hyper squares. But we can't, that's the closest we can get to visualizing a hypercube. I mean, there is another hypercube visualization, but that's even more head bending and weird. That's an unfolded hypercube, yeah. So ET, corpus tile, yeah. So he's linking religion and mathematics and science, but for me, this showing clearly that Jesus transcended the three-dimensional realm and operated in 4D. And I want to play some excerpts from the Gospel of Thomas that I hope will demonstrate, perhaps with a little bit of discussion, you and I, Future Shock, perhaps, as to the interpretation of what he might be saying.
Well, just before you start that as well, I think, like, for people that don't know, the Gospel of St. Thomas was actually not in the Bible. I think it was
Exactly.
Early Christian leaders sort of said it was written too late, or it lacked sort of authority, it lacked sort of eyewitness authority, and promoted sort of Gnostic ideas that didn't match core Christian teachings. Now, it's interesting because, as you're about to play, there's a lot of things in there that you know are, well, like you say, a bit more scientific than maybe these Christian leaders would want people to. They provide a bit more understanding that perhaps certain leaders would want you to have.
So, yeah, well, two-thirds of there are 104. The Gospel of Thomas isn't a narrative gospel. It's just the collection of Jesus's sayings. 2/3 of them are already in the Synoptic Gospels. So most of the material from the Gospel of Thomas is accepted by Christianity as canonical. There's a third of sayings which do not appear in the Bible and are really kind of weird. And they make you think. The thing is, it's often said to be a Gnostic gospel, and it was found in the Nag Hammadi collection in 1954 in Egypt. I think it was 1954 or so, along with a load of other Gnostic gospels. Now, most of the Gnostic gospels, if not all of them, are all bollocks. They're all crap. They're just, it's Gnostic crap. It's from Alexandria. It was stuff that was invented by Greek-speaking, Greek-trained Jews just to fuck with the Bible and fuck with Christianity. It's just, I've been through it all. It's just bullshit. It's just absolute nonsense. However, I mean, this is an exception because the Gospel of Thomas, it doesn't actually follow, doesn't have any of the other Gnostic themes. Often Gnosticism comes down to having a dualistic creation where there's an unknowable God, like the Jewish Kabbalah, Ein Sof, or the Greek equivalent, the monad, and then there's the sort of then there's the unknowable God, and then there's like the demiurge. And the Gnostics often believe the Old Testament God was an evil God, right? They think it's literally like a slave God who enslaved humanity and made them, you know, and the Old Testament is a recording of that. But Jesus obviously didn't preach that. Jesus preached admittedly Jesus' ministry is contiguous with the Old Testament. A lot of the philosophy, the idea of the Orthodox Church, for instance, is that appearances of God in the Old Testament are actually Jesus. That's what they actually think. It's quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, God is the Father. Jesus is an embodiment of God on earth. And there's nothing Gnostic. But yeah. So it's very interesting. Let's look at this. We're going to run this up to 2 minutes because there's a few really interesting things. And like I say, I think he's trying to express ideas of 4D consciousness and like existing outside the material form and in a sort of spiritual 4D form. So can't quite remember how it starts, but we'll just. Is it come up on the video? Good. Okay, great.
As for the one who seeks, let him continue to seek until he finds. When he finds, he will become agitated. When he becomes agitated, he will be astounded, and he will reign over the all.
Okay, so that's completely a unique saying. So I think Jesus there is speaking about some kind of enlightenment, some kind of transcendental moment. Now, this isn't something that Christianity really goes into at all. Christianity doesn't really, unlike Buddhism, which Buddhism seeks transcendence. What the heck? Can you help me out, man? I forgot. Transcendence, right? Yeah, Buddhism, for instance, seeks transcendence from material world. Christianity is not necessarily a feature of it, is it? I mean, even some Christians frown on meditation, which I find ridiculous. But I think this here, what he's saying about seeking and finding, you will reign over the all. You'll be agitated and reign over the all. Now,
so what do you think that means? Sorry to cut in. So when he says rule over the all, or what do you think? Because I don't really understand what that's a reference to as such. The all, or is that just kind of like saying that you have this kind of higher level of understanding and you won't have as much fear? And what do you think it's actually trying to say?
If you remember some of Jesus' canonical sayings about if only you had the small amount of faith size of a mustard seed, you'd be able to move mountains. You would say to the mountain, move, and it shall move. So there are hints in the canonical Gospels that Jesus is. This is something in the early church, because the apostles would banish demons. They would do miracles. There are many miracles in the Acts, for instance, of the apostles. That's something that obviously the church doesn't talk about. The church doesn't really even believe in the miracles. The Orthodox Church does, of course. But the modern Christian mindset has a difficulty reconciling our understanding of reality with Jesus' miracles. But early Christianity was full of miracles. In fact, I was reading a book, Bede, the Ecclesiastic History of the English People, and this is written during the so-called Dark Ages in the 8th century or so by like the Anglo-Saxon Bede, Christian Bede, and the amount of miraculous kings they had, like British kings who were trying to fight the Anglo-Saxons and things like this, and there are stories of miraculous healings and wonders. The kings, the Christian kings in those days could manifest. And in the early years of Christianity, it was part of the ministry to as an apostle, as the apostolic duty, to actually to do miracles. It seemed to be common currency. So I think what he's saying there is a kind of Neo. It's a kind of training for Neo. So imagine he's like it's a Morpheus coaching Neo. That's how I see it. I see this as a sort of, and for this reason, you can imagine that the church probably doesn't want too many people, knowing too much in order to question the, basically the authority of the church. Because unfortunately, like it or not, the church went about, particularly the Catholic Church, was ruthless in denying other Christian interpretations of Christianity and other forms of Christianity, and doing a sort of creating a one-size-fits-all. And any dissenters will be burned alive, murdered, and killed, and that kind of thing. So let's just watch that again. I mean, there's a few more of them. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say this is a kind of different kind of Christ. It may be that it's. I think there's something about the Gospel of Thomas that has the ring of truth and has the spirit of Jesus somehow.
Let him continue to seek until he finds. When he finds, he will become agitated. So,
there were lots of stories. I don't know if you remember in the conspiracy movement days, Rick Clay. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
You do remember him?
I remember the name. I'm just trying to think what
so
from.
He did all of this research into the 2012 Olympics.
Ah, that's right. Yes. So then didn't he pass away? Didn't he?
Pass away. I think he I think he topped himself. I think he was
2008. Yeah, that was it.
yeah, and he was what he was doing. He was searching, as Jesus says. He was seeking, and he was poring over the maps of the proposed 2012 Olympic site, and he was looking for, you know, geomantic or sort of ritualistic elements. He was trying, and he discovered a road called Clay's Lane as part of the site. And I think things like that, when you're seeking, if these are when you get the coincidences manifesting that are too close to
verification,
it starts to frighten you. It's like you realize that something's going on in the universe. Like you've discovered something. You're starting to see your name, you know, in front of you when you're doing research. Have I told you about these? This has happened to me. I've written about this in my books. Yeah, we've talked about this in terms of the researches we did in manifesting reality and things like that. You know, I've told you the time when I found those 2 Glastonbury tickets, for instance. There's been times
that wasn't particularly scary.
There was that time when my name came up in a movie, Men in Black, when I was asking for a sign, and I was sat in a cinema in France, and my name came up on the screen as part of the plot of the movie, just as I asked for the sign. And that freaked me out, and so many events like that happened. I started to wonder, how real is this world? What's going on? Is this kind of like, is someone pranking me? Why is this happening? Why is I getting all these coincidences? Why is my name coming up? Why is my name? This happened as well when I was doing a training, and I would ask the question, show me a sign, God. And I looked up, and my name was an estate agent. And I sort of, that's fucking weird. That kind of thing can be like kind of frightening. You can get too much coincidence. It can make you sort of kind of freak out a little bit. So Jesus saying you will seek and you become agitated because you will start to be ordering reality. You'll be doing that thing, Jack Valley. You'll be part of the organizing and information. Universe. You'll be operating both. You'll be creating the connections, and you'll be providing the information, and you'll be making things happen, and it will freak you out.
Yeah, I mean, ordering. Yeah, I mean, that's one way of looking at it in terms of the coincidences, quote unquote, that we talked about. I mean, when you're recognizing that and you're seeing that, like I've said before, the universe seems to be a kind of pattern forming, maybe for want of a better expression, but it seems to be a kind of trying to find order, trying to find pattern, trying to make, and because it has to, because it's got to try and create solar systems and galaxies. So there has to be some kind of order as such,
innate like mechanism of order.
And then that's obviously at the macro scale, so there's no reason why that isn't happening at the micro, as above so below sort of thing.
All right, we'll have a few more of these.
When he becomes agitated, he will be astounded,
and he will reign over the all. Well, Jesus talks in this as well that the man who's enlightened, he doesn't use the word enlightened, I can't remember, but he says, when you know yourself. He, in the Gospel of Thomas, he has this expression which is, when you know yourself, which I think, my interpretation of that is you knowing yourself as part of the 4-dimensional energy realm, or if you like, or, I mean, the New Age would say finding the God inside you, right? So, yeah, but he talks in other sayings, the man, when you know yourself, the man who knows himself, when he discovers the world is a corpse, or the world is a body, the world has no value, and to him the world is not worthy. So it's like transcending the world, being more than the world, being bigger than the world, being more important than the world. I mean, that sounds egotistical. But the world is obviously a snotty, gnarly, and
I don't think it's important as such, is it? It's not being more important than the world. No. It's just that the world is maybe a step along the way, and then you sort of progress from that once you have a higher understanding. Because
well, I think that the world is a fallen place. I mean, it's probably not. I mean, there are lots of theories as to why we're here. You know, we're here perhaps to be better people. We're here because we couldn't make it in the last lifetime, so we came back and we've got things to work on, or who knows? I mean, we can.
Or it's just a Red Dwarf episode when we're just going to wake up and find out that we're completely different people and we've just been playing a game.
Totally, I think that's probably what will happen when we leave this world. We'll snap into a more authentic reality, and we'll have effectively just been playing a game for a lifetime. And I think that's exactly what will happen. But obviously,
I don't know if it's me wanting it more than anything and maybe projecting it, but for many years I've always thought something similar in the sense of it. It's almost like perhaps, we, whoever, could be sort of from the future as such, playing a game not retrospectively, but you know what I mean, playing this sort of game in the past, almost like a sort of historic simulation in a way. And really, we're in a very advanced civilization, whether that's that's another interesting. That's a very interesting one. I don't know. I think that's maybe just more what I'd like to happen. I'd like to wake up and I'm in this advanced society, and
But then, why would you be? Yeah, but why would you? Yeah, we have to. Yeah, but then that's like the story.
Maybe you're just in stasis traveling.
They're in that game to escape from their own guilt in real life. So he suggests why would you be playing this game? Because it's not exactly like the stories we've had to talk about today. That's not a lot of fun to deal with, to actually be sharing a world like that, is it? It's like a game, more of a challenge, perhaps, more of an assault course or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like a sort of almost like a kind of GTA, Grand Theft Auto type sort of like dystopian world. But we don't. I think also it's difficult for us to reason. Let's say that was the case, that we are playing some kind of game. It's difficult for us now to reason why, because we don't know what that other world, that, let's just say this is true, we don't know what that other world is like at all, what we're coming from. So there could be any reason that we couldn't even conceive of as to why we're playing, quote unquote.
And he will reign over.
No, I stick with my idea. I mean, I think the ultimate reality will be, the higher four-dimensional reality will be what is known as heaven. It'll be timeless, and we'll have the option to travel. If you want, we can return to any time in history or any place in the universe. We'll have a whole limitless sandbox of the whole universe to play in.
Because if we're going back to 4D, as such 4D, it's almost like that would figure then, wouldn't it? Like you would have access to anywhere in the universe, or even if there's multiverses, because that's just kind of like, because being in 4 dimensions allows you to sort of travel anywhere instantaneously. I always thought it's probably the actual experience of it is probably like dreamings, but much more orientated compared to a normal dream. So maybe more like a sort of lucid dream type experience. Even they are a little bit kind of chopped up and messy, but they're a lot more ordered than a standard dream. So I think I kind of side with the Native American type idea that dreaming is kind of like getting you prepared for death in a way, the experience of it, that kind of reality that you're in, and certainly lucid dreaming.
Well, in Greek, death and sleep are brothers, aren't they?
Okay, I think
Morpheus is the god of sleep, and the god of death. Just can't remember, so I'm typing out frantically. Oh, Thanatos. Yeah, no, Thanatos and is it Thanatos and the father is Hypnos. Oh, the god of sleep, and Thanatos, the Greek god of death. Morpheus, the god of dreams, but they're all part of the same family, right? So, god of sleep, god of death, and god of dreams. They're all, they're all the same, related. See, so that's how the Greeks sort of sleep was seen as a little death.
Yeah, exactly.
Of dreams was, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
The Greeks knew what was going on.
But there is one great quote in the Gospel of Thomas. I don't know if it's going to roll onto it in the video, but I think it's the first one I saw when you introduced me to it, which, and I'm going to butcher it slightly probably, but he says, you know, we came from dust and from dust we will return. Do you remember that one?
No, that's not it. No.
Is that not it? Where's that? Where am I getting that from? I'm sure that was in there.
No. Anyway, this sounds.
Where's that from? Though? I've got that from. Is that not a quote that he said at some point somewhere?
No.
Oh,
For the all.
Definitely sing that.
If the ones who lead you should say to you,
Genesis.
"See, the kingdom is in heaven," then the birds of heaven will precede you.
This is one of the critical ones. This one is echoed in, I think it's Luke. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
If they say to you, "It is in the sea," then the fish will precede you. But the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you know yourselves, then you will become known.
See, that's what he talks about in the Gospel of Thomas, this idea of knowing yourself. And that seems to be a kind of a prefiguration of enlightenment and godlike knowledge, if you like.
And you will understand that you are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty.
I quite like that. I like that kind of, you know, we've seen in the West now the price of making everyone victims is that if you sort of make all of, you know, you victimize criminals and criminalize victims, but because of that sort of female compassion has run riot, the sort of toxic feminine. Now everyone's a victim. No one has any responsibility for themselves. Like we are you can blame your problems on white men, for instance. But this kind of image of Christianity is, you know, Jesus, you are the poverty. If not to say if you're living in poverty, it's your fault, but you have a responsibility to be the best you can be and to transcend this world. And if you don't, you are going to just be you're going to be effed up. You're going to be living in poverty. You are the poverty. And also, he, instead of saying kingdom of heaven is merely within you, he says it's within and without you. And also there's a saying that later on that he says the kingdom of heaven is all around you. There's a passage where he's responding to questions about when will the kingdom come, and Jesus, this gospel, Thomas says the kingdom is already here. You just haven't spotted it. It's just, and it is. It's all, we are living in this kingdom of light, but we're separated by awareness. We don't see that light is the eternal four-dimensional realm, and it's where God is and it's what gives life to this universe. And when we die, we join it if we can, if we have the right vibration, if we have the right positivity in us, if we're ostensibly good people without any darkness, we join the light. But if not, if we are full of evil and hiding, our own sins, and we've been an arsehole in life, we'll flee light because everything is exposed in the light. This is what Jesus says. There's nothing that can be hid that won't be revealed in the light. And that's the only reason. That's what I imagine happens when if you die, if you reject the light, it's because you fear your own evil being exposed. Anyway, so I'll keep going until 2 minutes.
It reminds me slightly of a Terence McKenna quote, which was, "You have to take seriously the notion that understanding the universe is your responsibility, because the only understanding of the universe that will be useful to you is your own understanding." And that's kind of similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of similar notion of knowing, the knowledge of having this knowledge of the universe is power. And especially as you sort of transition into the next life. And if you don't have that, and this is where I've said before to you about, I think sometimes, I can't speak for you, but myself, I feel like sometimes I just kind of like, I'm a bit complacent or take for granted the notion that I have a decent level of understanding about the kind of things that we're talking about. And most people, the kind of normies, they don't have this. So I wonder if you have me and you have a normie and we sort of both die at the same time, if you have my understanding of the universe and the sort of things we talk about weekly on the show versus somebody who just thinks that after death there is nothing, like how different are our experiences going to be at the point of transcending or not? Maybe. Do you know what I mean? Did that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's like why most people die. They die at an old age. They die of various ailments all connected to old age. But I think a lot of people, by the time they get to that age, they've probably figured a few things out. They've probably noticed that there's things like coincidences, or they've had encounters, they've had spirit, they've had weird precognitions, or they've all sorts of people you talk to, and they say, "Oh, I think I had a ghost once," or everyone's got a story. Like my mum's is that whenever someone in the family dies, she always gets a visit in her bedroom, and she's always too scared to see who it is. There's always something in their bedroom. Something comes into the room, and it's a presence, and she feels it. She knows it's there, but she never looks at it because she's too scared. And then the next day, there's always someone dies, and it's always that. And everyone's got a story like that, or at least they should, because everyone should be paying attention. I'm not saying what they're told by the media, that it's all bullshit and it's all the only thing that's real is materialism. We've all got
a similar story.
There's something going on.
My mum's got a similar story, but basically it's along the same lines. When her dad died, who used to live with us in an annex in the house that I grew up in, my mum's mum and dad lived in this annex. I was a young child at the time when they both died, quite close to each other. And anyway, my granddad, her dad, used to smoke a pipe all the time. So he smoked tobacco in a pipe. And my mum would say that for a few weeks after his death, just after his death, that when she was in her bedroom, so this is nowhere near the annex where they lived, she would smell his tobacco smoke sometimes. And I don't know, getting older, and especially working in mental health, I understand the concept of olfactory hallucinations, which for people who don't know are like hallucinating smells. So it could have been something like that brought on by the trauma of the event. But it's interesting. It might not be. It might be something deeper than that.
Okay.
The man old in days.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Will not hesitate to ask a small child 7 days old about the place of life, and he will live.
So I like that one. That's that the old man will not hesitate to ask a child 7 days old about the place of life, heaven, basically, place of life.
Well, if they could talk, it'd be a good person. I mean, if they could actually communicate, a newborn child would probably be one of the best people to ask. Exactly.
I know. I always think of that. I always think of, wonder why children cry so much when they're the babies, because they miss the realm that they were in before, and they realize,
Jesus Christ, not this again.
I know. It makes you think, doesn't it? Because there's always stories of when children learn to talk about 3 years old, or 2 or 3 or whatever. They always say they're seeing ghosts, or they're seeing family. They report seeing people in their room. I think I've mentioned this.
My friend
said it was, the description was his grandfather that the girl gave his 3-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? Amazing.
My friend told a story. This is years ago now. He told me this. My friend told a story about how he went round to one of his friend's house, and she had I think it was a 2-year-old kid and a 4 or 5-year-old kid. She had 2 boys. One was 2, one was, let's say, 5. And my friend said he overheard the 5-year-old say to the 2-year-old, or 2 or 3-year-old, "Tell me what heaven looks like again, because I'm starting to forget."
Wow. Are you serious? That sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Tell me again. That's such a good story. Tell me again who it was and what was the circumstances again.
So it's a friend of mine from uni. So this is going back years and years. And he went round, so he had a girly mate who was like a single mum, and she had 2 kids. I think one was like 3 and one was 5. And the 5-year-old said to the 3-year-old, apparently, "Tell me again what heaven looks like. I'm starting to forget."
That's amazing. I can't believe it. I mean, your friend reported this?
Yes, there was there's no excessive drug consumption involved in this day either.
That's fantastic. So. That's great. That's the kind of story that you hang on to and you think about. And this is why evidence. This is data, isn't it? Yeah.
What kind of annoyed me was that he didn't. I mean, I guess I'm not in the moment, but like he didn't sort of pursue that. I would have been tempted to sort of like butt in there and say, like, what do you mean by that? But I guess he just sort of left them. I don't know. He just left them alone, sort of thing.
That's very cool. That's a cool story. Yeah.
I am going to have to bounce in a couple of minutes. Sorry, man, because I've got to get to the shop before it's.
No, that's fine. You know, that's it. That's our contractual obligation, isn't it, to ourselves to do 2 hours. Yeah, there was stuff I was gonna cover about who's funding Tommy Robinson and all that stuff, but we'll do that next week.
Well, speaking of next week,
yes, speaking of next week, I'm going to be watching Tottenham Hotspur play Charlton Athletic, second round of the Carabao at Spurs. So Wednesday there won't be a show. We'll do it on Tuesday, won't we, bro? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to move it to Tuesday, people, so you can catch us same time then. Tuesday, by the way, there was a story. There was a story that came out yesterday about Charlton. They found a dead body. I need to follow this story up. They found a dead body in Charlton Athletics football stadium in their grounds. I don't have any more information. If people want to look that up, you can look it up. But that was a mad story that come out. We no further.
Maybe I mean I don't know a lot about Charlton. I mean it's one of them. You could insert the football joke here. He's waiting. He's still waiting for a goal. He's still I don't know. I mean, are Charlton any good? It's like,
they were in the Premier League briefly about 20 years ago, but yeah, they've never been a massive team. Though.
He gave up getting served at the bar. Still waiting for his pint, and who knows? But yeah, that's interesting. Hey, how about getting more of that for next Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll look into that. Yeah. It's a strange one. Never heard of that happening before. But
I'll just run this up to 2 minutes, and we'll continue with Gospel of Thomas next week as well. So, but we're we're going to bounce. So I'll just play the rest of this for 2 minutes.
For many who are first will become last, and they will become one and the same.
See, that's really weird. That kind of there's a lot of talking of unity and oneness and one and the same. Joining the oneness, the God. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of this in Gospels. None of this is in the canonical Gospels. But this isn't Gnosticism. That's what I'm saying. This is more like this is literally what the secrets Jesus would probably have, and he's telling you more about his own divine nature. It's fantastic.
Well, it's like we said before. He's like he was a low-key quantum physicist back in the day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Recognize what is before your face, and that which is hidden from you will be revealed. For there is nothing hidden that will not become revealed.
So what is before your face? I mean, there's other things where he talks about, I am split a piece of wood or lift up a stone and you will find me there. And it's like when you lift up a piece of wood or you split a stone, you lift a stone, you split a wood, you're exposing them to light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I believe that he's always talking about light. So what is before his face? I think it's that awareness of light, that is the God realm, the 4D realm, light, because time stops. It's eternal. Light records everything, every moment in reality, and we are made of light. So it'll just continue. I think we're done. Yeah, all right. So if you want to, we can wrap it up there, bro. If you want, yeah.
Yeah, man. So
right. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to go a bit longer, but yeah, that's 2 hours is fine, and we'll just continue the rest until next Tuesday. Yeah,
man. I will find out what happened to that chap at Charlton. But I think like you say, he's just a reference to light, isn't it? And how it's kind of that. Ultimately, the fourth dimension is one place as such. I guess in a way, one isn't really an appropriate way to describe it because it's not a numerical system. It is just that dimension as such.
It's boundless because space and time is a perception of the 3D realm. But 4D is going to be boundless. It's like the shape of the universe. It's often people struggle to visualize the end of the universe. But if you realize that the universe is a 4D hypersphere, so there'll be no end, but once you go far enough in the same direction, you'll come back to where you started.
hypersphere.
The universe is curved. We don't perceive the curvedness, but you see what I mean?
So that's the hypersphere.
Yeah. It's my belief that the universe is a 4-dimensional hypersphere, and the 4-dimensional aspect accounts for time. Because they usually say time is the 4th dimension, but it's not that simple. Time is the perception of the movement of the 4th dimension. It's like time is like a slice of the moving hypersphere. So events that unfold, that's movement. That's a kind of movement through the 4th dimension.
Yeah.
But we perceive it as time.
It's always kind of like the dimension, it's almost I don't know if this is the right way of putting it, but it's almost like it's leaking into 3D. Like the time is sort of leaked. Would that be kind of a way of looking at it, maybe?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't see it as that necessarily. I don't know. I don't see it as that.
But let's continue this next
we'll
week.
get into it more next week, maybe, huh?
All right, then. Cool, man.
Brilliant, mate. All right. Nice one. Nice for coming along. Nice to talk to you as usual, mate. And yeah.
Yeah, you too, man. Cheers to Where Dolls Dance as well. He was here for the second half.
John Fused as well. He's going to be listening to this later on. Good old John Fused is back, which is nice to have a few regulars, mate. Do you know what I mean? Nice to
good.
Few familiar names. Anyway, yeah, great.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. We'll see you on Tuesday. See everybody on Tuesday. Yeah.
See you on Tuesday, guys. All right. Keep tumbling. Have a great week. All right. Stay safe out in the madhouse.
Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.
Cheers, mate.